layering all of those things. So we've started off with speculation. A lot of people trade crypto, they want to get rich, but that's a way to start building liquidity into the system and drive kind of mainstream knowledge of the asset class. We're already seeing phase 2 happen where people are starting to see it as an asset class. If you look at a lot of studies on Bitcoin, it's an uncorrelated asset. It gives returns that other asset classes can't give. So we're moving into that phase 2. And a little bit, phase 3 has started as well. So some people do use crypto to transact, but not a lot of people, because you need a critical mass of people to actually own it before that becomes useful. And I mentioned there direct and indirect, and that's a very important point. I think sometimes when people think about the world of crypto transactions, they think, oh, are we all going to go to the shop and just use Bitcoin instead of using, in South Africa, rands, for example. And the reality is, that is one of the potential outcomes, but a probably more likely outcome is you might be using rands, but when you pay, in the background, the transaction goes through Bitcoin and then ends up in rands in the other person's account again, especially for cross-border transactions. So we've actually tested this between European countries and African countries, working with regulators, where we would send, let's say, for example, euro to rands, and no one actually knows that Bitcoin is actually converting those things in the background. So it clears through Bitcoin instead of US dollar. So it doesn't really change, we're just using a more neutral currency to do that. So that's another interesting outcome. We will later see some credit going in there. We think your online ID will start changing from an email and a credit card, which is very unsafe, to your crypto wallet with your crypto address, because it's a lot easier way to transact online. And then of course there's all these new use cases that a lot of people talk, decentralized finance, decentralized Uber. I think that's going to be very interesting, but I think a lot of those things are about 10 years too early. There's no point in building this amazing new decentralized technology, but you need crypto to be able to use it, and there's not enough people that have crypto to actually use it. So that will come much later. Okay, now those are the opportunities and very, things that excite people, but there's also risks, and I want to talk about this because I find that a lot of people that talk about crypto only talk about the exciting upside things, but they don't talk about what can potentially go wrong, and it's important to acknowledge it. And so the things that people talk typically about it is that people use it for bad things. There's a lot of volatility, it doesn't scale, is it going to work with the existing regulatory frameworks, and do people even understand how it works? What I want to show you though is that what people need to understand is that on all of these things, because crypto is typically open source and anyone can work on it and contribute it, just like the internet, the reason why the internet grew so quickly is because of everyone trying to solve all these early problems together. And so the stuff that is already happening, solving these things, you would be shocked if you know how well it is actually going. It doesn't mean those risks have gone away. It won't ever go away, just like the existing financial system. By the way, that's the same for most in the existing financial system. So for people using it, we actually have a lot of transparency in terms of seeing where cryptocurrency transactions go. We can see in real time if someone buys drugs online. And I sometimes tell this story, and by the way, it doesn't actually even happen a lot, but we've seen it. And I've spoken to banks, and I said, the bank would say, but look, we can see someone's bought some dacha with Bitcoin for 5 rand. And then we say, okay, yes. And then what about your customers? Do you think that person's not going to buy it anymore if there's no Bitcoin? They're going to just walk down Long Street and just pay for cash. And then they say, oh, but that's not our problem. I'm like, but wait, they're coming to your ATM and drawing it from your ATM. And they go, no, not our ATM. And I say, but whose ATM then? No, the other bank's ATM. Oh, okay. So the crypto industry actually gets punished for having visibility on what people are doing, where the existing industry often don't know, but that's a good enough excuse not to be punished for it. Now, sometimes they get caught out and then they do get punished. But what I'm saying is there are amazing data and tools that are being built to build a lot of transparency into this. The volatility has gone down a lot, and there's also things like stable coins that are helping volatility, and this example I gave now, using something like Bitcoin as the intermediary, sending rand to pounds, and in the background it switches to crypto. Their volatility doesn't matter because the Bitcoin only exists for a second in time. So there's ways to counter that. Scaling, there's a lot of interesting things happening on scaling, and a lot of those issues have been solved. Regulation, okay. Gone a lot faster than I thought. I'll skip forward, but the one thing just to remember is it's been only 5 years really that people have been trying. So we can't compare where this is versus the existing system that's 100 years old, but it's made huge advances in that time. And if you even just use as a case study something like Facebook's Libra, I'm not going to go into detail, but Facebook's Libra to some extent addresses all of those things bang in one go. It's not perfect, but it has a lot of potential. So the point is, I don't know if Libra is going to be successful. We're quite positive on it. What is it going to look like in the end? What is it going to be backed by? But this idea of solving all of those problems within the cryptocurrency context is now out in the open. And if Libra don't do it, someone else is going to do it, whether it's a government or another multinational or so on. So that's very exciting. We just talk a little bit about what Luno does, but as we said in the beginning, we make it easy for people to buy and store cryptocurrency. We think crypto is going to impact everyone's lives, whether directly or indirectly. And we make it, we effectively as a business make sure, even though a lot of consumers use our product, if you have a business, if your customers need crypto either directly or indirectly, we also offer that. So you can talk to us to come, and we have APIs that you can plug into your telco or into your bank, and we have banks and other fintech companies and telcos starting to integrate our products. Our aim is to positively impact 1 billion lives with crypto by 2030. And again, if we were in any other industry, that would be a laughable number. You would walk away and go, there's no way this is going to happen. Given the scale of what we are doing and the projection that the industry has, that is a very realistic thing. But we will do it along with all of our partners, as I mentioned just on the previous slide. So just to wrap that up, quickly going back to 1996, when Mr. Mbeki did this amazing speech, 1% penetration of mobile phones in Africa. So just quick case check, how many of you, just in the small audience here, have some kind of cryptocurrency in your phone or on your wallet or so on? Okay, wow, that's not 1%, that's probably about 5%, right? So I'll leave you with that in 2010, crypto was just an idea. By 2020, we're going to collectively value it at 200 billion. It's real, it's growing. And if the penetration is already between 1 and 5% today, where are we going to be in 2030, and where's your business going to be in 2030? That's it, thank you.